Today we're doing 2-7, the real number system. Just a little reminder, we have some rules that we learned in a previous section on natural numbers. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and so on. Whole numbers were the same as natural numbers, except they included 0. Integers were the same as whole numbers, except they were also negative. So rational numbers include all of the above, so all of these. And remember, they are terminating decimals or repeating decimals. So here's an example of terminating, and here's an example of repeating that 1, 5, 1, 5, 1, 5. Our first example, it says natural, whole, integer, rational, or irrational, and it wants you to decide what it is and or what it could possibly be out of those choices. So if you remember from the last section, irrational is when you have a decimal that keeps going on forever, or a square root that's decimal is not perfect, and the decimal, the square root will then have a decimal that goes on and repeats or doesn't repeat, it just keeps on going and there's never an ending or any consistency behind it. So here we have our first example, which is the square root of 144. And it is a negative, that doesn't affect anything, so we're just looking at the square root of 144, and we know that that is 12. So we know that 12 is, and then you'd have a negative because you'd have to bring the negative over here. So negative 12, so negative 12 is an integer, and it is rational. Okay, because rational numbers are always whole numbers and natural numbers as well. They're also integers. So it's not irrational, doesn't fall into that category. It can't be a whole number because whole numbers are not negative. And it can't be natural because, again, natural numbers cannot be negative. So the only two possible choices are that it's an integer and it's rational. Here we have, for B, we have a repeating decimal, so we know right away that this is a rational number. It can't be an integer because, again, it has that repeating decimal, and it can't be a whole number, and it cannot be a natural number because of that repeating decimal. Here we have a fraction. We know that 117 divided by 13 is 9. So we're looking at 9. And 9 is, going through the list, it's a natural number. It's also a whole number. It's also an integer. And it's also rational. So it fits in all of those categories. The only one it doesn't fit is irrational. Example number 2, it says order from least to greatest. When I'm looking at decimals, I like to look at these in terms of money. So we want to look at what is the least amount of money that you can have. So I'm going to run through my decimal points here. I have 0.3, 0.333, it'll keep going, 0.33, and it stops, and then 0.303. So we know for sure that we are going to have the 0.3 as the smallest, because that would be like 0.30 with nothing left. So 6.3. If you want to write the 0, you can, if it helps you kind of see it better. And then the next one would be 6.303. And then the next one would be 6.33. And then the next one would be 6.3 with the bar over it because it would keep repeating those 3's. When I look at B, I'm again writing from least to greatest. I first want to find out what the square root of 36 is, so I'm going to write a 6. And the square root of 54 is approximately negative 0.735, so make sure you know that that was a negative sign. So we know that the negatives are always going to come first, so you want to pick the bigger negative. So we're looking at negative 7.35 and negative 4 and a ninth. So I know that negative 7.35, which is my negative square root of 54, is the bigger negative. And then, of course, my 4 and 1/9. After that, you're looking at the square root of 36, which is 6, and 8 and a third. So we know that the square root of 36 comes first, and then the 8 and 1/3. So that is your order from least to greatest. Example number 3 says find the distance between each pair of numbers round to the nearest hundredth. So the first pair of numbers that I'm going to give you is pi, which is 3.14 and keeps going, and 4.3. So again, we can remember that this is really 3.14 and 4.3. Wants you to find the distance and round it to the nearest hundredth. So in order to find the distance between these numbers, you're going to go ahead and subtract them. And I added a 0 there because it's easier for me when I'm doing my math here. So I'm going to borrow, I get 2, 10 minus 4 is 6, 2 minus 1 is 1, and 4 minus 3 is 1. So I have approximately 1.16. That is my answer, the distance between those numbers. Again, you're just subtracting them. It says find the midpoint. Midpoint is where you add both numbers together and divide by 2. So I have 2/5 plus 0.06. So 2/5 is 0.4. So 0.4 plus 0.06 is 1. And then you'd have to divide that by 2, so you get a half. So 1/2 is that midpoint for A. Let's look at B. We have 5/7 and 6/7. So we're going to add those together and divide by 2. So 5 plus 6 is 11/7 divided by 2. So another way of looking at this is 11/7 divided by 2, which means you take 11/7 and you take the reciprocal and multiply. So you flip the fraction and multiply. So 1 times 11 is 11, and 7 times 2 is 14. Just to further explain what the midpoint is, I wanted to add that the midpoint is, if you're looking at a number line, what's the point that comes in between 2/5 and 0.6? So the number halfway between those on a number line.